Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to Children's Church Online. Today, we'll be learning how God taught Job about his creation. And now, here's Miss Ann with your lesson.
Hi, boys and girls. Like Miss Leanne said, today we are going to talk about how God tells Job about his creation. We'll learn that God is the creator, and that means that he made the whole world, what we see in the sky, from the stars to the birds, what we see on the earth, the plants and the animals, water. God made everything. He even made you and me. Okay? We're thinking about in Psalm 8:1, it says, "O Lord, our Lord, your majestic name fills the earth. Your glory is higher than the heavens." So think about nature for a minute. What is your favorite part of nature? Well, it's been really hot out lately. So some of my favorite parts of nature are water things, right? Like playing in the sprinkler, so the water comes from God, or maybe enjoying the beautiful flowers or the tomatoes that are starting to grow in my garden, or sometimes at night seeing the beautiful fireflies outside. What are some things that you like in nature? Do you like animals or maybe plants? Or do you have a special place that you think about? God made all of those things that we enjoy so much, okay? So we're thinking about God as the creator today, so we need to get some of our creative juices flowing. So I need you to stand up for a minute. Actually, stand up where you are, okay? We're gonna do a little creating ourselves. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to describe a way that I want you, wherever you are, whatever space you're in, to walk across your room, okay? So we're gonna picture some kind of weird animals. So wherever you're sitting, I want you to go over to the side. If there's a wall, like we usually watch in my living room, can you go over to the side of the room? And I'm gonna give you a weird animal. And I want you to walk across the room pretending you are that weird animal. So I'll give you an example. If I say a boldly juggling unicorn, you need to first picture that you're a unicorn. So how does a unicorn walk? Yes, I don't know either, so you'll have to be creative. And then you'll also have to be juggling. And I want you to walk across the room. Okay, so that was just an example. Just put your unicorn thoughts aside. Are you all on the side? We have a couple of these, so some might be better than others. First, I want you to cross the room as a quietly whistling penguin. So think, how does a penguin walk? But you have to be whistling too, okay? Go, walk across the room. Are you whistling too? Quietly whistling. Nice, good job. Okay, you've got the penguin. Let's go for a bigger animal. Can you walk back across the room as a loudly tiptoeing brontosaurus? That's a dinosaur. Okay, so now you're an enormous dinosaur. You're gonna tiptoe, but you're kind of loud because you're a dinosaur. Okay, get up on your tiptoes. Go. Go across the room. I can hear you. That's it. Keep going. Okay, let's try another one. In between. How about a boldly baking kangaroo? What would a kangaroo be baking? Maybe they'd be stirring, right? Okay, and kangaroos usually go how? They hop, right. Okay, so you're going back across, you're baking, and you're a kangaroo. Go. You gotta be careful of the mixing bowl. It's a good job. All right. Ooh, we have a good one. How about back across the room, we've been loud for a couple here, as a silently swimming tiger. You imagine you're a tiger and you're very quiet this time. How do tigers swim? I swim, I don't know, doggy paddle, cat paddle. Okay, silently swimming tiger, go. Good, nice work. Okay, last one. How about a lazily stretching panda? How do you stretch? In the morning, you get up and you stretch. Panda bears are very lazy, so you gotta go across. Go ahead, go back across. You are a lazily stretching panda. Nice job. You were so many creative animals. You can go back and sit down, okay? Was it fun to be creative? What do you like about it? You get to decide what it looks like. Nobody knows what a baking kangaroo looks like, so you can't be wrong. You get to put in your own thoughts and ideas and be creative. Can be kind of challenging too. What did you find tricky about it? I found it tricky if I didn't have an idea already in mind. Like, I had never seen a Brontosaurus, so I didn't know how they might move, and that was tricky for me. So creating things can be really exciting, but it can be pretty tricky too. We're going to look in the Bible to read about God as a creator, because we know that it's really exciting, but that was really hard to do some of the things as well. There was a man in the Bible named Job who was going through some really hard times, and he wanted to ask God some questions about why things were so hard for him. Okay, and we know from listening to Pastor Andy, it's great to be able to ask God questions, and Job had a lot of these questions. God's answer to Job didn't really explain why he was going through those hard things, and that's tricky. Sometimes the answer isn't what you're expecting, but what God does show is how amazing he is as a creator. So we know if he can create all these amazing things, he can certainly take care of us too. Let's listen to what God showed Job about all the things that he made, so we understand how and why we can trust him so much. I'm going to read some verses from Job, and I'm going to read them in chunks, okay, just a few at a time. After I finish reading each set of verses, I'll give you about 10 seconds, and just like the animals, I want you to strike a pose. Okay, so you're going to kind of be creative with your body again. So you don't have to talk, you don't have to draw, you're going to use your body, and you're going to strike a pose that represents the creation that I read. Now it's the Bible, so they sound a little bit fancy. So I'll tell you what each one is before I read the Bible verses. You listen to the description, and then at the end I'll give you about 10 seconds to strike a pose. Can't be wrong, that's the beauty of it. Okay, but I want you to think about that creation. Okay? Here's a challenge. Some of you are very good at this, right? So here's a challenge part for you. If you think you can, try to use one item from your home in each pose. So for instance, if I was using something for the baking kangaroo, I might hold something like it was a mixing bowl, right? Now, it doesn't have to be the actual thing because I'm only giving you 10 seconds. But you can be creative. Look around. Like, do you have pillows there? Do you have toys there? You can use them in your pose. All right? Here's the first verse. This is about the sea. So it sounds a little weird, but you're thinking about the sea, the oceans, and water. Okay? This is from Job 38, and it's verses 8 through 11. Picture what you might do, the description of the sea. Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb, when I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness, when I fixed limits for it and set its doors and bars in place, when I said, this far you may come and no farther, here is where your proud waves halt. So God is the one asking all these questions. He did all these things to the sea. So you're going to represent the sea. Ready? Go. Strike a pose. What looks like the sea? That's good. Nice work. You use something from your house? That was good. All right. God created the sea. Oceans are huge. Okay. If you took the tallest mountain, do you know the tallest mountain? Right, Mount Everest. If you took Mount Everest and you turned it upside down and you put it in the sea, it wouldn't even touch the bottom. It would still be far, far away from the bottom of the ocean, okay? Not only are oceans huge, but we haven't discovered everything that's down there, okay? My facts say that we've only explored 5 or 10% of the ocean. And scientists still think that there are thousands of species down there that we haven't learned about yet. And God made all of that. How amazing as a creator, right? Okay, now you've done the ocean. Next verses are about daylight. The light. Okay, that's going to be tricky to pose. Now, like you heard in the first one, God describes this as questions. He said, who did this? Who did that? The answer is he did all these things, right? When he says, who shut up the sea behind the doors? This is what he did. God limited the ocean. So when he talks about daylight, it's going to sound a little like questions again. But listen about the things that he did with the light, okay? And then you're going to strike your pose. This is Job 38, 12 to 15. Hast thou commanded the morning since the days began, and caused the dayspring to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked shall be shaken out of it? It is changed as clay under the seal, and all things stand forth as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm is broken. That's tricky. Let's picture, who has commanded the morning? Can you do that in your pose? Who has commanded the morning? Good. Nice work. All right, daylight is tricky. It takes about, here's my fun fact, okay? It takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the light from the sun to reach the earth. So when the light is leaving the sun, it takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds, only 8 minutes and 20 seconds from that light to get all the way to our eyes. How cool. Okay, you're not done. More poses. God didn't just make waters and light, he made much more. In Job 38, verses 31 to 33, he talks about the stars. We started with the light, now we have the stars. And some of the things he talks about are constellations here, so they're groups of stars. It says, canst thou bind the cluster of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Do you know the constellation Orion? That's the one I can always find. Or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season? Or canst thou guide the bear with her train? Knowest thou the ordinances of the heavens? Canst thou establish the dominion thereof in earth? Could you put all of those stars in place? How are you going to be the stars? Take a second and think. Can you use something from your house? If you have a light, that would be good. Okay, go. Do your pose. This is a tricky one. Nice. Good work. Okay. God created a lot of stars. Scientists estimate that there are 1 septillion stars. Yeah, this is a big number. That's one with 24 zeros after it. Septillion. In the universe, and sometimes scientists think that that's probably a low guess, that there are probably even more stars than that, and God made all of those stars in the heavens. Okay, we're still in the sky. Next one's going to be about rain and lightning. We haven't had a lot of rain at my house, so I have to remember for a little bit here. I'm going to read about rain and lightning, and you're going to think about a rain and lightning pose. This cannot be the same as your star pose or your water pose. Okay. Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou send forth lightnings, that they may go, and say unto thee, here we are, send forth lightning. Who hath put the wisdom in the inner parts, and given the understanding to the mind? Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Who can pour out the bottles of heaven, when the dust runneth into a mass, and the clouds cleave fast together? Pour out the bottles of heaven. That's so cool. Okay. You do your pose? Pose. Rain is such a cool one. It's a great job. Lightning is big and powerful. Most lightning strikes are 2 to 3 miles long. So if the lightning is coming down, it's going 2 to 3 miles from end to end. It's amazing. Okay? And have 100 million volts of power. That's a lot. Quite a lot. Okay? This next one, 19 through 21, okay, talks about, it is 26 through 28, and it talks about hawks and eagles. So we're getting on to some birds, to some animals, okay? And this is the last pose that you have to do, that you can relax for a minute. So this is a short one. Is it by thy wisdom that the hawk soareth, and stretcheth her wings toward the south? Maybe you're stretching your wings. Is it by thy command that the eagle mounteth up, and maketh her nest on high? On the cliff she dwells, and makes her home, upon the point of the cliff and the stronghold. Okay, now I know you can be a hawk or an eagle, so I'm going to give you 3. Okay, that's a great one. Good job. Eagles' wings are huge and heavy. We're picturing God creating all these things. Eagles' wings are huge and heavy, so it takes a lot of energy for them to flap their wings. So instead, they often catch air currents to soar and to glide. Do you ever see at your house birds that are very high up and they're soaring, meaning their wings aren't flapping, they're locked? So they can use the air to glide. Okay, and they can do that for a long time. They don't have to flap to keep themselves up like you might in a pool if you're swimming. They can just glide on the air. So God made all of these impressive powerful, enormous, and wonderful things. So what does that show us about God? Remember, God's talking to Job, and Job wants answers. He's really worried. And God says, instead of saying, hey, Job, don't worry, he tells him about all these things that he created. So what does that tell us about God? Okay? That he's really powerful and impressive. And if he can make all of those septillion stars in the sky, then we know, just like Job, that he can take care of us too. What is something that God made that really impresses you? What is something that you think about and you're like, wow, that's really amazing? If you think about the oceans or the rain or a certain animal, he made all of those things. What is something that you would create if you could make anything? Hold on to that. We'll get back there in a minute. Okay, you've used creativity as you figured out how to use your own bodies to show what God made, and you did a really awesome job. I know, that was very tricky and creative. But God's creation is much more incredible than anything that we could make or think of, because he made all of those things, not just one or a few. After Job heard all that God had said, he was pretty amazed by God. He couldn't think of anything else to say to God because he was so amazed by what God had created and how he cares for his creation. Now, we might not be able to create as well as God. We know that we can't. But here's something amazing about the role or the job that God gave us when it comes to creation. So I'm going to switch books. I'm going to read something from Psalms, and this is Psalm 8. It goes verse 3 to verse 8, okay? When I consider thy heavens, the person reading, right? When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. What is man, that thou art mindful of him? And the son of man, that you visit him? For you have made him but just a little lower than God and crowned him with glory and honor. You make him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. When you have dominion, you're in charge. You have made man to be in charge of the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all the sheep and the oxen and the beasts of the fields, the birds of the heavens and the fish of the seas, and whoever passes through the paths of the seas. So what does it mean to you? What are you thinking when this tells us that we're in charge of God's creation? What do you think that means? Yeah, sometimes I can't get my pets to listen to me either. So it must not mean exactly that. God is the creator. He made you and me. And he wants to partner with us to take care of the rest of his creation. When someone is in charge, yes, they get to say what you do, but they also take care of you, right? Can you think of people who are in charge, like your parents or a teacher or a coach? Okay, yes, they get to make decisions about this is the thing that we're doing, but their job is also to take care of the people that they're directing, right? And so this tells us in Psalms that it is our job, not just the grown-ups, you, okay? It is our job to take care of God's creation. So let's think, what is something that we can do to take care of God's creation? So we've got to think of the different things. We have plants and animals and the environment. So let's start with something easy. What is a way that you can take care of plants that God made? Tell the person that you're sitting with. Tell your grown-up, tell your brother or sister. What is a way you can take care of the plants that God made? Well, I know what I've had to do with my plants lately is I've had to water them because we haven't had a lot of rain. So I've done a lot of watering to help my plants stay strong and healthy. What about you? Probably. What else? What can we do to take care of perhaps animals? Do you have animals at your house? Do you have pets? There are a lot of things that we have to do, right, to take care of our pets and to keep them safe, okay? We could feed and water our pets, okay? We can take care of the environment, the outside, by making sure that we throw our trash away and don't leave things on the ground, right? If you are playing outside or you're going for a hike or a bike ride, you can't leave your wrappers or your food on the ground. You take it with you, okay? And even simple things like when you're going on that hike or you're playing outside to step over the plants, okay? Now, not over the grass, I understand, but don't step on your mom's flowers or your neighbor's plantings, right? But to be careful and gentle. And also remember, God created humans too. So think about how can we help take care of other people, even if it's just smiling and being nice, right? God is the creator, and we can help take care of all the things that God created. Okay? He put us in charge of caring for the things, but he is the creator of everything. So I'm going to show you something that you can do this week just to kind of keep this idea in your mind. Now, I'm not going to give you too much direction because I want you to be creative and you to make the decisions. Okay? God made all of the things on earth and he didn't follow any directions or instructions. Haha. He just got to make it up. He just created them. So you can be creative too, and you can make your very own plants or animals. So you need to start by gathering up some supplies. So I brought my bag of supplies. This is just a suggestion. So you use what you have at home. So I've brought some paper with me. So I might need to use some paper to make my creation. I also have my colorful pipe cleaners or fuzzy wires because I might need that. What else do I have? Ooh, I have eyeballs. Now these are also stickers, but they look like eyeballs and it really helps me if I'm going to make creatures, so I like that a lot. You can use the stickers you have at home. I might need to draw some things. So I have some crayons. I might need some good bodies, so cups or even paper plates if you want. You could start there to make your creation, and you might need to stick it together. So, I could even use my bag as something. That's very nice. So, your challenge for this week, your goal, is to gather up some supplies and to think, okay, I have no directions or instructions, just like God didn't. What amazing thing could I create this week? And we'll see what you make. I bet it'll be really wonderful. All right? So keep in mind all of the things that you can do to help take care of God's creation this week. And I will too. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week here at Children's Church. Bye.